We got another question from Matt. On Tuesday's show, Ari said regression is the enemy of employment, which was a great quote. Great quote. We were talking about Jonathan Smith in Michigan State, by the way. As a lifelong South Carolina fan, to say I'm disappointed with the regression of this season would be an understatement. Despite being preseason number 11 with playoff aspirations and a Heisman Trophy contender at QB, my Gamecocks seem to be headed toward not even making a bowl game. To make matters worse, the offense is just as putrid as they rank in the bottom 10 in the country in total offense and points per game. This is statistically the worst South Carolina offense since the 1999 0-11 season. Shout out Lou Holtz. This, however, is a trend and not an anomaly. At the time he's been at South Carolina, Shane Beamer's offense has been, on average, the worst in the SEC over a 5-year span, and that's with Spencer Rattler and Lenore Sellers at QB. If you peruse the Gamecock Central message boards, you'll see a fan base split on the future of the program and their coach. Half want to give Beamer another chance to hire a good OC, while the other half think, to Ari's point, that it's time for him to go, as they are worse in year 5 than they were in year 1. My question is this. For a program like South Carolina, what is a riskier move? Letting a head coach hire technically his 5th OC, because Mike Bobo left before spring practice in year 1. When he hasn't proven capable of that task, or is it worse, getting into potentially the busiest coaching carousel in history when you perhaps be the 6th to 8th best job on the market? That's a really good question from Matt. Now, here's what I'll say about South Carolina. If they fire Shane Beamer, it would be incredibly stupid because you just extended him for no reason. Why did you extend him last offseason? He wasn't going anywhere. You didn't have to worry about it. And this is the part with all these extensions that drives me nuts. Like, unless your coach is 1 foot out the door and you're desperate to keep him, do not extend him for no reason. Shane Beamer had a good season. It's his job to have good seasons. You were already paying him for that. So I don't think they should fire Shane Beamer, because they'd be incredibly stupid and wasting money, because why did you extend him in the first place?
Yeah. Also, at the time of firing him, you would not be as high in the hierarchy of hireable coaches as you think. This is not the right time to do it. Now, I don't know if every year there's just going to be 30 openings. And you're just going to have to do it eventually. But like right now, too, it's like the 7th best quarterback in the draft entering the draft when he has a year of eligibility left. So financially, it would be stupid. And I think timing would be stupid. That said, I think that the regression is the enemy of employment line is clever. But I also have to try to put things in perspective, too. Like, if your coach greatly overachieves in a year, and then you go back down to like what you typically are, is that a regression, or did you?
I think what Matt is worried about is how much of it was Dow Loggins being good at running an offense, and then Dow Loggins went and got a head coaching job at App State, and now Mike Shule is not good at running an offense, and maybe Shane Beamer's not good at picking offensive coordinators.
You know, you could do. I'm going to write this column. I've been thinking about doing it next week. 10 most disappointing teams of 2025. And I think that you obviously know, like, Texas and Penn State and those teams would be on
South Carolina is definitely one of them, yeah.
But like the second step to that, of not just pointing out they're disappointing, is like, why do they suck? Like, why does South Carolina suck this year?
Their offensive line is not good. Kind of the same reason Texas is having trouble, but in South Carolina it's even worse. Bad offensive line is one part of it. The offensive coordinator situation we've just mentioned. Also, there's a bit of regression to the mean. They're not as talented as they were last year, playing in a league that is tough, where their schedule is very hard.
Yeah, I have a hard time conflating the two things. I'm even struggling with that with Texas. It's like, does Texas have a coordinator problem on offense, or does their offensive line suck? And how good of a coordinator can you be if you can't block anyone? It's just like, that's also too. It's like, Shane Beamer.
But that also comes back to the head coach, because it's your job to make sure the personnel is where it needs to be.
Who's ever had a bad offensive line with a good offense? Has that ever happened?
You can gimmicky. There are gimmicky ways to get away with it in like group of 5 leagues, but if you tried to do that in the Big Ten or the SEC, you
get your head beat in. Yeah. So I don't know. I think Shane Beamer's been a net positive for South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And I think firing him now would be stupid.
Yeah. Also, South Carolina is not going to be really good every year.
Yeah.
Historically speaking.
And I feel for South Carolina fans though, because you aren't going to be good every year. So you don't want to suck in the years you're supposed to be good.
Yeah. That's the thing. Having a quarterback that played so well last year and you won 9 games with, it's very frustrating to see this.
And he's done, right? Like this is it for him.
No, he has another year if he wants it.
No, I know, but it's the expectation at this point is that he'll go to the NFL though, right?
Maybe. I'm not sure how that's all going to shake out for everybody in the NIL era.
Yeah, I don't know that. But my understanding, and this could be changing because it's not going well this year, is that he's a first-round pick right now. So I wonder if first-round picks
not based on production.
No, certainly not. Neither was Anthony Richardson.
That's true. And look how well that worked out.
Yeah, and like I think that you could put him in that level of category of athlete. Like he's going to make people drool at the combine.
Yeah, but hopefully Anthony Richardson was an instructive case, and like for Lenora Sellers was better last year than Anthony Richardson ever was in college.
I agree.
So and there are seeds of what you hope you can get out of Lenora.
I would
Sellers.
draft Lenora Sellers in the first round with what we saw this year. I think there have been way worse quarterbacks taken in the first round.
I would want to see him produce more.
Yeah. So, hey, but maybe that's the hope is.
Let's kind of flip this thing though, Ari, because we don't know, and we don't know this for a fact. We're just supposing that maybe Shane Beamer could be in line to get the Virginia Tech job. Virginia Tech alum, son of Frank. Would you leave if you were him? If that job was available to you to reset your clock?
Do I get to know if I get my quarterback back?
Yeah, let's say Lenoris has told you one way or the other what's going to happen.
Okay, well, I'm going to say he's coming back in this scenario, and then I would not leave.
Okay.
I don't think that the Virginia Tech job is a job that he won't be able to get again.
I also feel like if you just gave me this extension for no reason and you owe me all this money, fire my ass. Like I'm making you fire me. I'm not leaving. I'm not letting you off the hook for that.
I don't know if James Franklin is going to end up at Virginia Tech. I have no idea where they're going to end up. But I don't know that it is his dream.
I don't either. And knowing Shane a little bit, I do know he worked very hard earlier in his career to go work for other people and to show that it wasn't like he wasn't a Nepo baby. Like he worked for Philip Fulmer. He worked for Steve Spurrier. He did work for his dad for a little bit, but then he also worked for Kirby Smart and Lincoln Riley. So like he worked his way up to this point. He wasn't handed this job because of his last name.
Can I say the unpopular thing?
Go for it.
There's a high likelihood that the Virginia Tech job is reopened again in 4 years. Right?
Maybe.
Also, if Shane Beamer wants to work at Virginia Tech, that opportunity will likely arise at some point in the next decade. And he's still a relatively young man.
He's a young guy. You're right.
So if this is your dream, which we just said we're not sure that it is, but if it were his dream, which would be the pool to go back there, why not get paid all this money that South Carolina has promised you, try to turn things around at South Carolina, and then reevaluate it in 2029 when that job is open again? Because even if James Franklin takes it and Virginia Tech wins big, James Franklin will then get hired by an SEC school or something. Like whoever is the next head coach there is either going to be fired or is going to do so well there that they get offered a bigger job in one of the 2 safe conferences. Like it will be open again in 2030. Yeah. So like you have no reason to jump at it right now unless you think you're going to get fired. And here's the other thing too that Shane Beamer also has to take into account. He's a certain sweetheart, or he was last year a sweetheart of coaching. And we still view his college trajectory as upward at the moment. If you jump right now to reset your clock at your dad's school and then you suck there, like that is it for you. Like Virginia Tech, if like the motivation to go to Virginia Tech is based solely on resetting the clock and giving yourself a more stable circumstance, which isn't even true because they just extended him, then you can do that later on at the twilight of your career if things don't go the way you plan. I think there's far more to gain staying at South Carolina than there is to go to Virginia Tech right now, if I'm him.
Yeah, no, agreed. So I say stay. You say stay. Not sure Matt's going to be happy with that, but we
don't know what's not
I say do not fire.
Did he strike you as on the fire side?
A little bit. I mean,
he's just
I say do not fire.
I think you can be disappointed without wanting to fire your coach, though. I think those fans do exist.